You know, off the top rope has to burst your bubble, but you're going to love it, baby. There's a talented lady who's the reason FTC Wrestling is what it is today. Star Sarah Bubbles. She's learning the ropes, ready to dominate. So, there will be some bubble busting in the ring. She's live to talk it up with your boy Ty Asbury. It is Off the Top Rope Friday night. Let's get sizzling.
The Ropes Media. Tyrone Asbury. Yeah. Tyrone Asbury. Yeah. Every chance you get to hear us, you clear us. It's the time on the radio. My opinion's my opinion. Every time you hear me down, moving out, lay on the stereos. Every podcast live, you know the feeling. This is the time for me to speak. You know the.
What's up, everybody? Live Friday night, and it's Friday night, and you know what's going down off the top rope. It is a good Friday night because my live guest, of course, on the ropes, she is bursting a lot of bubbles in wrestling, knocking heads, breaking arms, training, getting her groove on. She is, of course, the one, the only, Sarah Bubbles, of course, from FTC Wrestling. Sarah, what is up? You're in the house tonight on the ropes. What's up?
Hey, Ty, thanks for having me. It's so much fun. I can't wait to just dig in and interact with fans, and let's do it. Let's have a good time, man.
Off the Top Rope is about having a good time. So, Sarah, you come to the right place here on Off the Top Rope to have such a good time. We want to rock and roll. But first and foremost, I have to ask you, it is Good Friday. So I want to ask you, how are you doing on this Good Friday night? Because we're after 9 o'clock. We're in prime time. So how's your night going?
Everything's going great. I may be Sarah Bubbles and I may burst some bubbles, but I also have some little tiny bubbles in my life. And today was my daughter's first softball game, so we got to do that. That was a super fun time. We're just getting home and settling in for the night because that's mom life.
Well, I want to ask you first and foremost. I know you went to God bless you, your daughter, your baseball game, everything doing. I'm always scared the weather doesn't cooperate, but I'm glad you got to watch her play and hit home runs out the park. So I want to ask you, how many people approached you about some autographs? I'm kissing up, so I want to ask you if anybody asked for your autograph. So
well, I live about 40 to 45 minutes from my home promotion. So when I'm in that area, believe it or not, I actually do get recognized a good bit. Not asking for autographs yet, maybe in the future. But it surprises me when I'm in that area. People will come up and be like, "Aren't you Sarah Bubbles?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah, that's so cool. And when they ask you that, I can't describe. I have to ask you because I'm not you, but how does that feel when they come up to you and talk to you, say, "Hey, you're Sarah Bubbles," and appreciate your work? Like, how does that feel like in the inside?
It's a surreal feeling. Because if you would have told me this time last year that I was going to be a wrestler, I would have laughed at you. The person that got me into wrestling, the first time he suggested it, I couldn't stop laughing, like deep gut laughing, because that just sounded insane to me. That sounded like something I would never do. Like, I'm a mom with a desk job. So, but it's just awesome especially for me, a lot of my fan base is young children. So I'll have little kids come up and they just look at you like you're a complete celebrity. And I just feel like someone who's fumbling around in a ring still. So I have a lot of kids that they want to see me. They want to take pictures with me. And it's just so gratifying. It makes all those hard nights in the ring, all that extra training, all that extra research I've done, it makes it all worth it when I see those kids. They're just fantastic.
Now, before we came live on the broadcast, you said that you're in a year in. It'll be, your June. You'll hit your year mark. I'm guessing you'll be a year in June, which is coming fast. So you're going to be a veteran fast, because the way time is flying by. But it doesn't matter if you're a wrestler, promoter, podcaster. We are all fans first and foremost. everybody likes wrestling for a different reason. What is it about you that I always say you get bit by the wrestling bug? What was it like? You was like, I gotta I gotta have it. Like going to a buffet, you just gotta get a taste of it.
My story is probably different than everyone else. I'll lead off with that. So, before June of last year, I had watched two wrestling shows in my life, and they were both FTC shows, and they were just that year because I didn't follow wrestling. I didn't watch, anything on TV. I didn't study people. I didn't have a favorite wrestler. But my best friend is a wrestler, and I wanted to go to support him, so I went to two of his shows. I was going through a difficult change in my life, and he told me, he's like, join me at wrestling. I had been trying to lose weight, and I had hit kind of like a roadblock, and I was confiding in him about that. And he told me, he said, join wrestling. It'll really help you cut down, really help you lose some weight, and it's super fun, and it's really great therapy. I'm like, okay, like he's giving me a line, he just wants me to come hang out. But then, so I told him, I was like, well, I'll go and he said, give it 2 weeks. He said, at the end of 2 weeks of training, if you're not completely in love with wrestling, you can quit. So I told him, I said, okay, fine. So the first night I went, I was terrified. I was so nervous. And when I left training, I called one of my friends and I told her, I said, I'm not going back. I said, that was horrible. I'm already sore. Like I was so nervous the whole time. I was shaking. And if you've ever been in a wrestling ring, if you're actually shaking, you're shaking the whole ring. Like, so
Oh
that
yeah.
was just awful. Well, she told me, she said, you promised him 2 weeks. You're going to finish these 2 weeks. I said, okay, fine. So by the end of the 2 weeks, I was completely obsessed. I was asking the guys who I should be studying. I actually subscribed to cable just so that I could get like the shows as they were airing. Like, so it
Yeah.
definitely like just getting into it gave me the bug. And now like I'm catching everything I can. When I'm not watching it live on TV, then I'm looking up old matches of different people that I've been told to research. I have like favorite wrestlers, and I've actually got to meet a few people that I've studied, and that was like the coolest thing ever. So
It touches me. I don't get emotional on the broadcast often, but your story is like just touching me because, like I said, you take care of your daughter, your work, and being a wrestler, like just doing what a woman should do, working hard, raising her child. Like that's definitely like that. That's what's up, and like it's just really touched me already about your story. And I'm glad you're live on the show because I'm sure there are probably some ladies out there that are going through what you're going through, even if they won't be wrestlers or not. Being a mother, job, like you pretty much have three jobs: your daughter, said office setting, and being a pro wrestler. So, like I said, I mean, Sarah freaking Bubbles is doing her thing. Like I'm just like really, really happy and proud of you that you stuck with it because I've heard like stories where I mean, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, where wrestlers get hurt. They said, no, I'm not going, like you said, I'm not going back, but you stuck by it.
oh, for sure. Yeah. I've had my fair share of injuries in this year because I'm not a very coordinated person. Um, I've had a cracked rib. Well, it was fractured to be exact, but my trainer kind of gives me a little hard time. He ribs me a little bit because I'm always covered in bruises. I was actually like strategic with my camera angle because I don't even know if you can see it. I have a huge bruise right here right now. It's
Yeah,
been there for
yeah.
a few weeks. It's actually almost healed. So, but that's honestly, it's almost kind of like a drug though, man. Like it it gets you so in there that even if you're hurt, you still want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
You don't
when I
care.
when I had that fractured rib, I had to sit out. I couldn't do hardly anything at all for 6 entire weeks. I still went to training twice a week, but I just like observed for the most part, and that was eating away at me because I just wanted to be in there. Like I wanted to be learning. I felt like I was just getting set back so far because I couldn't participate in time. But it's so much fun, and the injuries are part of it. It's part of the territory. Anytime we get new people in the school, I tell them, I say, just know that you're not going to be very good at the beginning because none of us are. I said, and just know that you're going to get hurt, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
but it's a good time. Like, and the family atmosphere that we have over at FTC's Art of Grappling, wrestling's kind of a cutthroat business. A lot of people feel like they have to stab someone in the back to get themselves to the next step. over at our Art of Grappling school in Ironton, Ohio, by the way. I don't know how wide you are here, but we are such a family atmosphere. Like, if somebody gets a booking, they're always talking to the promoter saying, "Hey, I got some other people at my school; they can come too." We try to get bookings together. We're always supporting each other, helping each other try new moves. We send each other videos. It'll be like, "Hey, I think you would do really well on this move, so try it, man, and I'll help you learn it if you want." Like, it's just, it's like a family that I never knew I needed until I had it, and now like I couldn't imagine my life without my fellow trainees and my trainer. It's just amazing.
It's like how you said wrestling can become therapy, making you feel good, therapy in a positive way, because like you said, FTC has become your family. And it's like, if you're having problems, you go to your family, which is at their wrestling facility, their promotion. So you pretty much have like so many, everything's a convenience for you. I mean, you got them at the school, the promotion, and wrestling is just, you're in a really cool time for wrestling and the women's evolution of wrestling. So for you ladies, you guys are main eventing and everything, and it's just like you're in a damn good time to be in wrestling. Sarah freaking Bubbles, man. Yeah, I just keep saying that. I'll probably say it all through the rest of the podcast, but it's a really cool thing to do what you're doing, because you said too, another thing I'm sure that's probably have touched everybody watching the show. You dealt with the weight, but now you're working on that and you're doing your thing and you're stepping in the ring, keeping in shape and everything. And like you said too, that wrestling, you get that high of doing it. And for you, is it because of like you go out there, you see the kids and you say they love you? Is it, I'm sure it's the kids, but like, is it just like, a match you're going to be in? Is that like where all the highs come from? So I'm sure everybody is different.
I definitely do get a high from the audience, from audience interaction. But listen, I get hyped during training because I can do things that I never thought my body would be capable of doing. And I probably shouldn't share this. I know it's like a taboo thing, but I'm 30 years old. Um, and, most of these people that are stepping in the ring, they're 18, 19 athletes. They're really fit and cut and they can run circles around the ring, literally. And I'm like, I never thought I would even be able to hold my own with these people. And I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing flips in the ring. I'm doing these hip tosses. I'm doing these arm drags. I'm doing these body slams. Like, body slams are one of my main things that I do. Because I'm like, I'm my whole thing is like, I'm this super positive, bubbly, but I'm a female powerhouse. Like, I'm a force to be reckoned with, but I'm also going to cheer you on the whole time I'm whipping your butt. Like, but yeah, I think for me, like, there's the different kind of hypes because our shows are every other month. So it's not like we're running a show once a week or even once a month. Sometimes we even get like 3 months in between, depending on if we're building a big event. So if I lived off the hype of the crowd, I don't think it'd be enough to keep me in just, once every now and then. That is a great hype though. Hearing that crowd, hearing kids like chant Bubbles. I'll share a quick story because I'll talk way too much if you let me. But at our last show we had,
get it with it. Say what you got to say.
Well, at our last show that we had, I was walking back after the match was over, still in front of the crowd, and I hear this little voice say, "I love you, Sarah Bubbles," across this huge venue. And I'm like, see, that's what it is, man. Like, that's the hype that you get from that crowd. But the hype from training is just as good, and it's a different type of hype. Like, because it's like in the shows, it's like they love me, but in the ring, it's like I love me. Like, I can do this, and that's something that I've kind of struggled with throughout my life. So getting that sense of confidence is really gratifying because it's not anyone else that's giving it to me. It's myself that's giving it to me.
You brought up a good point about how, like you said, FTC, they do shows on a consistent basis. Do you think if there's a talent who's with the promotion and the promotion doesn't do shows often, can that be a thing that can hurt the talent? Or it's like, well, there's more promotions, I can get travel, which could be long. Like, how does that work? Can that be kind of a negative impact on a talent, or it just depends on the situation?
I honestly think it depends on the person Because if you're a person that solely lives for the hype of the crowd and you're not really a go-getter that's not going to go out and get other promotions, then yeah, that could be a little disheartening at times. But like for me, like I said, I don't solely live off the hype of the crowd. Plus, a lot of us are able to get booked to other promotions. Our home promotion's really encouraging about that. Even us who are still trainees, I always ask my trainer and I always ask my promoter if they think I should take the booking when I get offered one. And if they say no, I don't take it. Like I really listen to those guys because I really trust and respect them. But most of the time they're like, yeah, if you want to do it, you go for it. Like it's all good. You do what you need to do. And so they trust me and all of us, all of us there at FTC, they train us to go out and be the professionals that they've taught us to be. I haven't mentioned it yet, but my trainer is Bobby Blaze from ECW and from Smoky Mountain Wrestling. So he is truly like an untapped resource in the world of wrestling. Nobody except those who know him realize how amazing he is and how knowledgeable he is. He was trained by the Malenkos and he wrestled in Japan and he's had all of this life experience. I just feel like everybody should know Bobby. Everyone should know him and everyone should know how amazing he is because he really is. He doesn't, I talked earlier about how wrestling can be cutthroat and Bobby's not like that. He just loves the sport. His heart is pure about wrestling. So he wants us to be the best we can be, each of us. Like I thought for sure that they would have given up on me a long time ago and Bobby never did. Because he'll teach you to do an arm drag for 6 weeks in a row if that's how long it takes you to learn an arm drag. You know what I mean? Like he just wants you to do it right because he wants you to stay safe and he wants you to keep your partner safe. In anything you're doing, that's what he wants, and he wants you to learn what you want to learn. He wants you to come up with your own stuff, and then he's going to help you learn those things. So he's really fantastic. He's taught me a lot. I don't think I'd be where I am today without Bobby.
One thing I want to say, everybody watching live, you've ever saying to yourself, damn, I should teach myself to watch Off the Top Rope. And if you are watching Off the Top Rope on this Good Friday night, you are doing the right thing because my live guest, Sarah freaking Bubbles, FTC Wrestling, she is in the house tonight. So, as always, on the ropes, you want to ask her a question, comment section, comment on the show, ask her a question. She has knowledge, especially for people who want to get into wrestling. She will break it down to you, Sarah Bubbles 101, how to get it going. But she's live on the show tonight. This lady is doing wonderful, wonderful things. And I want to go back to you showed me earlier, the bruise on your arm. Now, you said, of course, when you're hurt in the ring, like you just the injuries go away. So I'm sure that's been the case for you. Like when you're in the ring, you only think about that bruise, but I'm sure once you get out of it, you're like, oh, where'd that come from? Like I forgot he was even here.
Yeah. I've had many bruises pop up on my body and I'll have to think, where did that come from? So then I'm like backtracking my steps thinking, but I'm a person who bruises very easily. So I have fingerprint bruises on my legs a lot from where one of my main moves is a body slam. And so people are like trying to hold on to your leg, and then I just, I don't know, man, it's just part of life. I always at least a thumb and an index finger bruise on my legs.
It's cool. You said you're a power wrestler. When you body slam your opponents, I'm sure you get a little trash talking in there. Do you just spy slam them? That's it, or you say, "Boom, take that." Bubbles, back on Bubbles, baby. Like I'll just do that out there. So,
well, I'm trying to be like the most positive wrestler you've ever seen, and plus, I think I'm almost at an advantage for not knowing a lot about wrestling until I started training. Because my whole thing is like, if I throw you down or I, shove you off or if I body slam you, I'm like, okay, let's go again. Like, come on, you can do it this time. You know what I mean? That's my trash talk. I'm like we were doing a practice match just yesterday and we went to lock up for the third time. First time I shoved the guy off and he rolled backwards. Second time we locked up and I just throw him down. He face plants on the mat. So the third time he gets up, I say, all right, third time's the charm. This is it. This is your time right now. And then I got him again, but but that's my trash talk. It's encouraging, but I know that they're not getting it. Like it's me.
The thing that you said that too, and we all know that wrestling is tough, like you said, can be cutthroat. But I think the one thing that helps keep wrestling going is like yourself, trainers, the good people in wrestling keep wrestling going. Of course, we got people who can be slicing and dicing and cutthroat and doing their shady stuff, but I think it's what probably keeps wrestling together is they're the bubble gum that keeps things sticking and keep wrestling going, and to the business that we love.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I think,
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry. I think wrestling is one of those things that everyone has to play their part, and everyone has
Yeah,
to know their part. Like we have a lot of people who make really great managers, and they're great managers because they know that that's their spot. They know that they shouldn't really be a wrestler, they should be a manager, and that's what they're really good at. You know what I mean? So I think knowing your spot and appreciating each person in their individual roles, like appreciate your refs. We just had a special guest at our training last night, and he was telling us appreciate your refs, appreciate your, that might have even been Bobby. I'm a little bit, bubbly. But one of them was telling us appreciate the refs, the cameraman, the booker, the custodian, the guys working concession. Because without all of those people doing their roles, the show's not going to happen. Most importantly, appreciate the fans. Because if we don't have people coming to watch us, we're not putting on shows. Like the it has to. It's an ebb and flow kind of thing. You know what I mean? And so that's one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is just not the wrestlers aren't the only superstars, and a lot of people don't think about it that way. Like we wouldn't sound as awesome as we sound without uh, our MC. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We wouldn't be as awesome as we are without our sound and light guy. All those people are super important, and I think that if more wrestlers could appreciate those people, um, then the whole industry would just be a lot more fun to be around. Like I don't know, I feel like so many people are underappreciated in the wrestling field.
One
Um,
thing you should always, you know, remember that you said, at the, FTC training school, some of the students are 18, 19, 20, and you're your 30s. I'm in my 40s, so I shouldn't even, I don't even talk about that. So, but one thing you can always learn a lesson from one guy, and he's an inspiration to everybody. Diamond Dallas Page, he started out a little bit getting into the ring wrestling later in his career. So, but yeah, I mean, he should be that one inspiration you should look up to. But obviously, you know what you're doing because, like I said, you be a year getting in doing what you're doing. And speaking of being a year into the business, I want to ask you that. Of course, I believe in wrestling. You never stop learning. You always want to learn doing it. You be doing 30, 40, 50 years. Probably since you started up until now, what's the one thing that you really have sharpened and you're like, oh, I'm just killing it in this aspect of my career? If there's something you can think of.
Honestly, I mean, I always kind of I'm my toughest critic. I really am. Like I just feel like I'm fumbling through this whole thing, and people just keep liking me, and I don't really know why. But I feel like the thing that I've really just honed in on and fine tuned is Sarah Bubbles. Like I've come into my own. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing in that ring as far as my style. I know my style. Um, and I mean, I'm still learning, ring psychology and ring awareness and learning how to sell. Um, just, and I think one of the harder things for me is promoting myself because I always think, yeah, okay, I am who I am, but my boys that I train with, they're phenomenal. Like, and guys have it a lot harder in the industry, in my opinion, because, where you might see 5 or 6 women, you're going to see like 30 men every time. That's like at our training school, I'm one of 2 women, and there's about, I think there was 12 of us there last night. So it was 10 guys and 2 women. And so I feel like some of our guys go very underappreciated. You were talking about Diamond Dallas Page getting in his older years. Our current FTC Art of Grappling champion, he's a really close friend of mine. His name's Brock Boulder. He didn't start training until he was 39, and he's 41 now. And he's our champion. Like he's kind of the unofficial leader of our school. Like everyone looks up to him. Everyone goes to him for advice. He's super encouraging, but he's also not going to sugarcoat anything for you. Like he's going to tell you what he sees, but he's also going to say, "But listen to Bobby," like because that's one of those going back to knowing your place. He knows that people come to him for advice, and he knows that he knows what he's talking about, but he also knows that Bobby's the real experience and Bobby's the real wealth of knowledge that we have. So he always tells people, well, this is what I see, but talk to Bobby. Like,
Talk to Bobby. You brought up a really good thing. You said that you don't know why people are grasping to Sarah Bubbles. You're like you just floating on by and people are liking you. But I think in wrestling that can work because you could do something that's not planned and people can love you. Like Stone Cold bleeding, Bret Hart beating him up, and people switched and hated Bret. And they love Stone Cold. People can do little things in wrestling and get them over just like that. So whatever you're doing, you're probably not thinking about it. You're just doing it. And people are just loving it. And I think wrestling can work like that. You can just go off the fly. Going off the fly attracts, if that makes sense.
yeah, I think sometimes I think my age kind of helps me a little bit when it comes to my character and just really being Sarah Bubbles because Sarah Bubbles is who I am in real life. Like I'm extravagant, I'm loud, I'm kind of sarcastic, but I'm also super positive. You know what I mean? I don't take crap from no one in the ring or in real life, but I'm also just almost like the peacemaker. Like I just want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to enjoy the experience, talking about wrestling or talking about life. So I feel like it wasn't too far of a stretch to develop Sarah Bubbles, and I think that people kind of see that, like they see that I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I think that's what people feed off of for the most part.
And a lot of things too, of course, wrestling is all about telling the story, and you're telling the story because you're being you. I mean, later in years, you don't take no shit from nobody, and you're basing what you're doing on reality. Like you're that, you know, woman who's little getting into wrestling later on, and you kind of got like that underdog story. And I think fans love the underdog story, and you're building a story, and it's just like boom right there, and it's a simple story, and people are just like, yeah, I can relate to that. Somebody later, in their life, want to fulfill their dreams. Perfect underdog story, like right there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Sometimes it's still just surreal though, man. Like just
Yeah.
like people ask to buy my shirts. I sell shirts. I'm working on like growing my merch table, but for now I have t-shirts, and it just blows my mind when anyone walks up to my table and they're like, "Do you have this size?" And I'm like, "You want to buy one of my shirts?" Like it's so cool. It's the coolest thing ever.
I think your boy Ty Asper, I might have to get me a shirt. So I think I'm definitely gonna, bust out and bubble up and get me a Sarah Bubbles shirt. So now,
There you
Sarah,
go.
now next coming up in here on the show, we have. I'm kind of gonna take the show in different directions. We're gonna do some like some clip art, foundation here on the show. So I'm gonna throw this first one at you. I did my research, and I said when I saw you with this guy, I was like, man, that's legendary right there. So I'm sure you remember I took this, you and the man Rikishi, and I'm just like wrestling don't get any better because I'm sure you learned a lot from him. And I saw this on your Twitter, so I had to post this on the show. And I'm sure that was like one of the greatest moments for you.
Oh, listen, he was the coolest guy ever. Rikishi was, man. So the last show that we had, it was called FTC's My Way. It was in February, and that it was a star-studded show. Like we had Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty. He said it was their first time in 7 years or something like that being together on a show. We had both of them. We had PCO. Um, we had Jordan Grace. That was I don't even remember if that was on the podcast or before, but I told you I've got to meet some of the people that I studied. Jordan
Yeah.
Grace was the one, man. Like meeting her, I tried so hard not to like be a fan, you know what I mean? Because we were sharing a locker room. I'm
Yeah.
sure she doesn't want fans in the locker room, but I was just like, oh my gosh, it's Jordan Grace. Because she's that person, man. She's that female, she's that powerhouse. She's the
She is
one. And
well, yeah, definitely powerhouse.
she's like who I want to be when I grow up, even though she's probably younger than me. But yeah, seeing Rikishi, like getting to meet him and just hear some of the stuff that he said. And I'm actually kind of a socially awkward person before I get to know people. So my friend Brox Boulder had actually asked me to take a picture of them together. And so I did. And then Rikishi was like, come on, you come over and you take a picture with me too. Like I wasn't even going to ask because I don't know, I'm just backwards about stuff like that. my thing is I don't want to bother people. And if they're always getting asked to take pictures with people, I would say that'd be annoying after so long. Like Rikishi's been in the business forever. So I don't know if he would just be like, oh, that's too many pictures. But he asked me, he was like, you come over, you take a picture with me. And I was like, okay. So that's he took a picture with me and he took the pictures. I don't know if you can tell that from the way the camera, but he just like took my phone and he just started taking pictures. And then Brox was still standing there and he was like, come on, you get in too. So I actually have it. I don't know if it's on my Twitter or if it's on my Instagram or somewhere, a picture of Rikishi and me and Brox. And we're just there and we're just cheesing because it was the coolest thing ever. But yeah, he was cool, man. Like I've met some really cool people. That I met ODB. She was
Nice.
really awesome. She wanted to hear my whole entire story. She just listened to me talk for what I felt like was forever, but she was just so interested. She just wanted to know more and more and more. Um, I got to meet the Godfather. I got to meet Coco Beware, Malachi Black. He was really cool. He sat with all of us trainees and showed us like films that he watches when he's studying wrestling. And it was a lot of older English, like British wrestling. And I had never thought about stuff like that. I was just trying to watch people that I'd seen on WWE or that I had been given their names to watch them. And so I'm like, man, there's a whole nother world out there. But he was really cool. What's the guy's name? I'm so bad with names, man. Tommy Wildfire Rich.
Rich,
He
yeah.
is fantastic. Like he came to our school and he did a seminar with Shane Douglas, the franchise. Um, and they just taught us so much stuff. Like they were just so knowledgeable and they almost seemed kind of like Bobby, like it's not about them, it's about like educating the new generation. And
Creation.
so it was really cool. And here's the best one. I got to meet Kane just last month. So that
Nice.
was probably the coolest thing of my life. Like, and he's a monster. Like he's so huge, and I stand at 5'1", so I'm just like. So yeah, he was pretty cool, man. We had a signing. So our school, FTC Art of Grappling, is sponsored by Time Warp. It's a hobby store. I don't know how to properly explain it, but it's in Ashland, Kentucky, because we're right on the river. So that's like a 10-minute drive. um, but they sponsor our school and they do a lot of autograph signings in their store. And so they had Kanan. They've had we just had uh, Aaron Stevens. He used to be Damian Sandow. We had him. We've had Heath Slater. Um, there's probably way more famous people that I'm forgetting because I'm awful with names. But we have autograph signings a lot. And so they just brought Kane in last month, and that was super cool.
Like you've met all the talent. People know that you're a great person, so they're willing to take their greatness and give it to you, so you can be even greater. Now it's also, you said you definitely want to take the bubbles and move the bubbles out of Ohio and go to other promotions. Now I made this little graphic right here, and if you can see them, there's so many promotions on here. If you could, if they're not too small, if you could see some of them, which one or maybe two you would like to, of course, go to? There's so many on here, but I mean, it's like a buffet of promotions to choose from.
Well, listen, my eyes went right to it, man. If it's the same one, ICW there's one in Pennsylvania. I don't know if that's the same one, but, and I could probably even have the name messed up by now, but I have a lot of friends up there in the ICW in the Pennsylvania, whatever it is. And that's where I want to go. Like, I really want to get good enough to get their attention. But then like, I love Ring of Honor. I think that, and Impact. I didn't even see if Impact was on there. That was like sensory overload just now. But but
I think Impact. I believe Impact was on here somewhere. It's a lot. I'm sure Impact is probably. We'll just throw Impact in there if it's not on there. But Impact's definitely one of the ones coming up. And the thing about God bless Tony Khan, Tony Khan taking over Ring of Honor. That's because them and AEW doing something together. So I've said this before. I think Tony Khan to me, has made wrestling fun again because he's kind of doing where promotions can work together. So
yeah, he's kind of that invisible door that they talk about. Um, he's just like, it's
yeah,
okay. Like we're all just here to have fun, and that's yeah. So I agree with that. But I know Danhausen is really cool, like to watch him, and he's very entertaining, and I really like him. I actually met him before I was educated enough to even know very much about wrestling. I had no idea who he was. I'd never heard of him. We were just working behind the scenes at a show. We did like ring setup and tear down, and he was there, and he was, oh man, he was against actually our current disputed FTC champion. His name's Jock Sampson. He's he's a real piece of work, man. But the fans love to hate him.
That's
So
good.
yeah, yeah. So but he was against Danhausen at that show, and then I like start hearing more about him. I start seeing him on social media, and I'm like, this is a big deal. Like I had no idea that he was as well known as he was. I was just like, hey dude, what's up? Like but I did that same thing with Bobby. I had no idea who he was until I started training. And then I like started looking him up on YouTube and stuff, seeing what I could find. I'm like, wow, he was like really, really famous. And he still is. Like people know him like crazy. And then I haven't mentioned this yet, but when I first started training, Bobby was my co-trainer with Jillian Hall.
Saw that on your
Slice
Twitter.
bread.
I was like, you enjoy her. She's a big name. She's done her thing too, man.
Yeah, yeah. So she was really cool. She taught me a lot of like female wrestling stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because I will tell you right now, Jillian was underappreciated in her time. She can wrestle. That girl is, she's very well trained. She's very, a good, very technical wrestler. She taught us a lot. And she pushed us really hard. When we thought we could do 10, whatever, she'd be like, no, you got 20 in you. And she wouldn't let up until we made it. You know what I mean? Like she always had these impossible challenges. And we would just have them week after week after week after week until we did it. And it was a big push. In the past few months, Jillian's went her own way and started her own projects, but I have nothing but respect and admiration for that woman. She's a really good wrestler, and I don't think a lot of people know how amazing she is. I say that.
Jillian, yeah, definitely, she definitely did her thing. God bless her, and the great things that she's doing. And Sarah, we talked about a lot on the show because you've done your things with these two places, and I gotta definitely end out here with our clip session here on the show with these two great organizations. Of course, what it says here on the screen, if you separate the two, like what have they taught you about being a wrestler between the two? FTC and their grappling school.
Um, well, I've had two shows with FTC, so I haven't been with them very long. And like we mentioned earlier, Art of Grappling, I've been there just less than a year right now. Um, Art of Grappling has made me like that school has made me who I am. It's helped me learn more about myself, but it also helped me grow Sarah Bubbles like from the ground up. And she was not my brainchild. Like Jillian gave me the name. My friend Brox Boulder and I worked kind of together on finding the gimmick. And I'm still trying to find appropriate ring gear. Like I'm actually in conversations right now with a ring gear specialist. I don't know what they're like, a gear maker. So I'm hoping that ends up working out really well. I'm excited about it. But
I'm excited too. When that does come about, you gotta like Twitter, or you gotta let I'm definitely excited to see it once the gear comes into place.
oh yeah, for sure. But I think Art of Grappling that's what it is, man. That's the nuts and bolts. FTC is great. FTC has taught me that wrestlers are way cooler than what I would have ever thought, because I just like chalked them up to just being celebrities. And any other celebrity I've ever met, they're like go away. I don't want to talk to you. But those wrestlers, man, the ones that I never thought I'd meet in my whole life, they're just super cool, and they just want to talk, and they just want to like relive their glory days and give you all the advice they can, and they're super cool. So I think they've both given me a lot of confidence, though. I can tell you that. Art of Grappling has given me confidence in my physical ability. And FTC, just the promotion, has given me confidence in myself. I might have just said the same thing twice. I don't know. But they've just really helped me evolve in the past 11, 12, no, 10 months.
I could definitely tell that by just you coming on the show talking wrestling. You just have that look that you want to go beat somebody up now in the ring. I could tell you're confident, you're happy what you're doing, and that's like the most awesome thing, like a most awesome feeling to have. And I can tell you definitely experiencing that boat that you're on right now, just floating on to being the best that you can be. Sarah freaking Bubbles, just keep doing what you're doing. Now, like I said, Sarah, I got to stump you. This is the time on the episode, and we all know what it's time for. I'm gonna pull it up.
Damn, Ty. That's good.
All right, here we go. So, this is a question. Some people say, Ty, that is damn good, or some people get just like that, or they got to think about it. So, you ready to hear the question?
I'm ready.
All right, so the question is, Sarah Bubbles is bringing her first pay-per-view to her, state, of course, of Ohio. Now, using the name Ohio, what would you call the pay-per-view?
Oh my gosh, Ty. I don't know. I mean, if I have to use Ohio's a state of champions. It really is. Like we've got the Ohio State Buckeyes. They're untouchable in football. I know people are like, no, but they're untouchable in football. We won't talk about Cleveland Browns, but then we also have Cincinnati Bengals who, they've had a rough stretch. But then this year, man, they came back and they kicked butt and they took names. And I'm not even a Bengals fan, I'll tell you that right now. But I know greatness when I see it. So the name would be something like Ohio's Tournament of Champions or something like that.
I'll roll with that because some guests they'd be like, man, it's sitting there, but like you came with that, so I'll take that, and I'll take that because, like I said, at least the attempt was there and you did it. So we got Ohio Tournament of Champions. So when that comes about, I definitely want to take it to that. So when that comes about, so when that becomes a reality. Now, I know, like I said, to end out this awesome episode of Off the Top Rope, I want you got to do a couple things. Number one is, who are you beating up next in the ring? Where can we get a Sarah Bubbles t-shirt? Just let everybody know what's up next for you. Wrestling, t-shirts. Girl, just promote and plug yourself.
All right. Well, I'm not quite sure who I'm going to be up against yet, but FTC is going to be having a show on May 7th. We will be having our second Bluegrass Wrestling Con at the Highlands Museum in Ashland, Kentucky. Later that night, we will be having a show at the Ashland Armory. For those of you who don't follow our promotion, I'll just tell you it's a really big deal that we're at the Ashland Armory because we kind of stole the territory. So it's a big deal. But I'll be there and I'll be up against someone and we'll both have to find out, I guess. But if you want to follow me, yeah, listen, they'll be up against me. That's what it is. But if you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter. It's just Sarah_Bubbles_. I'm on Instagram, same thing, Sarah_Bubbles_740. You can friend me on Facebook. I have a Sarah Bubbles Facebook. I just made it like less than 2 weeks ago, so I'm still getting used to actually posting on there. I'll get better, I promise. If you want a shirt, you'll just have to private message me because I don't have like a website set up or anything. But I do have shirts, and I have them from like children's sizes all the way through 3XL. And I can order different sizes if you need other sizes. But you can message me on Twitter, on Instagram, or on Facebook. I have PayPal, I have Facebook Pay, I have Venmo, I have Cash App. I'm easily accessible when it comes to just working with me. I think that's it, right? Did I get it all out?
Well, you, like I said, you definitely took the bubbles and went with it in the air with everything that you had to plug here Off the Top Rope. You got everything. Matter of fact, I think we'll get me a shirt. I'm trying to think my shirt size so I can get my button shirt. So I can get bubbleized. I don't know if that's not a real word, but I just threw that out there. So, but anyway. Now, Sarah, the biggest question of all is from 1 to 10. Would you ever come back on Off the Top Rope and party it up again? with your boy Ty Asbury.
100%. If I could say 11, I would say 11. It's been a good time, and it's been a nice flow, very easy. You only tried to stump me once, and you didn't even stump me. So
Next time when you make your return, I have to think of something next time to get you with. So, but like I said, Sarah, I had a great time here on the show. It was an honor to have you, and I mostly want to say I'm proud of you. Keep your dreams going. God bless you. Be safe. And next time you come back on the show, I want to see some belts on your shoulder. So next time you come back on off the top rope. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I'm going to call her FTC sensation, wrestling sensation. She's doing her thing. The one, the only, Sarah Bubbles was live here on Off the Top Rope Friday night. Sarah, thank you very much for coming on the show.
thank you. It was a good time. I had a good time.
I'm your boy Ty Asbury. Everybody have a great, great, great Easter, holiday weekend. Tonight was a Good Friday because Sarah Bubbles was in the house. I'm your boy Ty Asbury. God bless. Love yourself. We are out of here. Have a great night.
The Ropes Media.